executive director. So I'm all about the titles and everything. Yeah, so I want to make sure I
Thank
get
you.
that right. Cool. And also too, because I don't want people to call you out, it's pronounced Janae. So we didn't say that beforehand,
Oh,
but it's all
Janae.
good.
Okay, yeah, you didn't tell me.
I
So
know. That's why I was like, we already started rolling. You said it, but I don't want somebody to be in the comments like, why you ain't tell her? But it's all
yeah,
good. People say it all the time. So I don't
I
even
know.
really feel no sort of way about it.
Everyone calls me Lisa, so I
Oh,
don't
you
mind.
feel me.
Yes, I do.
Now that we got all the formalities out of the way, I want to, jump right into our conversation about the Miami Book Fair. This is the 39th year, correct?
39 years,
30.
yeah. So
Wow, that's amazing. Tell us about like your involvement and how you got, to be a part of the Miami Book Fair team.
yeah, for sure. Well, just like you, I started coming here when I was a little kid. Maybe not quite as young. I was a teenager when I discovered the book fair. I was in high school, and I've always been a big reader. I've always loved to read. It's like the best way to escape. Growing up, we didn't have like a lot of money for like family vacations or like going all over the country or the state or things like that. It was just I lived here in Miami, and it was a very small place back when I was growing up. So there wasn't much to do, but there was always a book. And with that book, I could be anywhere in the world. I could be anywhere in the country. I could be any person. I didn't have to be
Yeah.
me, my unexciting self. So that's how my involvement really started. Like I discovered the book fair, started coming. And a little bit later, I started coming to Miami-Dade College as a student.
Mhm.
And then I was really a part, I would volunteer, or, we would have these authors that would come talk to us in the classrooms, or we would go and have special programs. And I was like, wow, these are like live people, these like people who write books. They're just like me. They're just like
Mhm.
you. And that I think that was like a big deal for me. It was a big deal for me to have these folks, not just be real, versus like some old,
Yeah.
dead dude, but also like hearing them talk about their books and what it is that they were thinking about when they were writing these stories. It just added this dimension for me, that made a really big impact, and so I went to school for English, like I went to school for creative writing, and to write poetry primarily. These are not things that have these like very direct career trajectories. It's not like
Mhm.
I became an engineer and now I'm working for NASA. It's like,
Yeah.
I wrote a lot of poetry in grad school and now I will do what? So I started working as a writer, just doing copywriting, doing articles for the newspaper, that kind of thing. And you know, I started working on the team at Miami-Dade College that
Mhm.
did a lot of the copywriting for the book fair, for like the fairgoer side, which this is this year's. I helped do copy for that or for the advertising. And so all of a sudden, one year, there was a job opening, the programming was expanding and I applied. And, I remember coming to the interview with a whole notebook, you know. Some people bring their resume. I brought a whole notebook. These are all the ideas that I have, Um, talking about wanting to be an overachiever. I was like, I need to get this job,
Oh,
and it
they like,
wasn't so
oh,
much.
she want this job. Like she's ready to go.
Exactly. And exactly. And that's, I mean, and I really wanted this job because I wanted to do, what has really inspired me to continue doing this all of these years. I wanted to do it back then, which was, you know, I believe so much in books and what people can find in books, which is like, an education. Some of us, like I mentioned, I grew up, single parent in Miami, and with really no ability to think like, oh, someday I'm gonna go to Harvard, that kind of thing. It was just like, what am I gonna do? I was working by the time I was 14. So, you know, to me, books were part of what helped me get that education. So that was a big deal. I wanted to make sure that I was working in a way that I could provide that alternative education to people. Books for entertainment, like I would have so much fun, like, and I would
Mhm.
feel so good getting into that book, reading it, whatever it was, whether it was a love story or some kind of like serious literature, whatever. And I wanted to share that with people. I wanted other people to see and find the value that I did in books, and I wanted other, and I wanted kids, to also like be inspired like I was to do things that maybe, didn't really, wasn't readily found in their family or in the community that they grew up in. And Miami-Dade College was the perfect place for a book festival like this to be founded. It was founded here at
Yeah.
Miami-Dade because, right, that's a lot of what Miami-Dade College does,
Mhm.
get an education, you know, for people who might not necessarily have the money to go somewhere like fancy, and
Mhm.
we can still succeed.
Yeah.
We can succeed no matter where we come from. And I think books and education and reading and being engaged in everything like that really makes a difference. That was a lot.
No, no, but I totally relate to your story because my mom and my aunts actually went and graduated from Miami-Dade College, and it was an option for them to be able to go to school and get their education and for it to be affordable as well. And so I totally relate to, everything that you're saying because that's a real story for many of us here in Miami and just South Florida in general. So to me, honestly, Miami-Dade College is a world class, college as well. So a lot of the programming and things that come out of there is really A1. And the book fair is one of those things. And I know some of the highlights, there are so many things that happen. And over the years, I've gone to some really great events that you guys have hosted. But one of my favorites is the street fair and being able to go look at the different vendors and see who's selling their different books and their wares and everything. I know this year you guys have some really cool things planned. Can you tell me some of the highlights that people can look forward to this year at the book fair?
Yeah, well, so in terms of the street fair, which is it's our big weekend. So it ends, the first day of the street fair weekend is November 18th. And so it's like all day that day, and then the 19th and the 20th. And so, um, as you mentioned, we closed down all the streets around Miami-Dade College. We have hundreds of vendors, whether it's books or, crafts people,
Hmm.
who make things, or lots of really yummy food. We have a farmers market area. So there's that, all of the walking around and checking all of these books out on these vendors. But one of my favorite parts of street fair, because I'm not just a reader, I love music and seeing live musicians. So one of my favorite parts is our live music stage, you
Yes.
know, we call it it's a music festival with books. It's our cheesy little tagline for it,
But
but
it's
it
the
is. It's
vibe.
like,
It's a vibe. I love the book fair, the street festival, that part of it. Like you said, the music, the
thank
food.
you.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it's all live music all weekend. I mean, we have everything from, spoken word poets that are up on that stage. We have, two-piece bands. We have great reggae this year. I don't know if you're familiar with Culture Shock. They do
Yeah.
a lot of the pop-up reggae festivals and stuff like that. I was the person that programs that stage for us. His name is Carmel. He's an old friend, a very music oriented person. I was like, I want some reggae this year. I'm
Yes.
like, "Why don't you call Lance?" And he was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah." And so we have that, and then we just have a lot of different kinds of music on that stage. And then, you know, for kids, we have the Children's Alley area, which is a whole plaza with pop-up venues, and there's arts and crafts, and there's robotics demonstrations, and there's readings, and we have an entertainment stage that's just for kids, where there's, some music and some like theatrical stuff and roving entertainers. So there's a lot for kids to participate in. And that's all part of street fair as well. And then there's all the authors that are in the different rooms,
Yeah. I love
all
those as
throughout the
well.
college.
Like those panel
Yeah.
discussions or those talk backs with the or readings with the authors. Like tell us about some of those events that'll be happening.
Yeah, I mean, we have 10 rooms that are all going on at the same time. And, there's from, 11, 10:30, 11 in the morning, all the way through the end of the day, 5, 6 o'clock. There's author talks every hour and a half. There's usually two or three people on a panel. Each of them does a reading. We love, one of the things we love about Miami audiences is that talking back, right? Like, I used to go to the movies, and when I was a kid, and I always tell my kids who are like that's not possible. Where something would be going on stage, in the movie, and we would all be like, "No, stop!"
Yes,
You
that's a
know.
part of
So that's
it.
yeah. I don't know. That's a very Miami thing because in Miami Book Fair, one of the things that we do is we put a microphone in the middle of every room for the audience to come up and ask questions and really engage. And again, that's part of what I love about the way we do things. It's not stuffy and it's not like, oh, we're here to make a literary discussion. It's like, let's listen to these people who are telling stories and then let's like talk to them about it. Like, why did you write it? What does that mean? What's the characters? What do they do? So, we try and create programs that would appeal, like I always say, there's something for everyone, right? So if you love a romance, there's romance. If you like mystery, there's definitely lots of mysteries. If you're really into politics, current affairs, this year we have I'm a big nonfiction reader. I love history and I love to sort of understand what's happening in the world, like the nuance, not just what you get in the
Mhm.
news. But so this year we have a number of people. There's Michael Fanone, who was a police officer that was hurt during the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol.
Mm,
He was he had a heart attack and he was beaten
ooh,
trying to defend the Capitol. And he's written a book about it. And he's going to be with us on Saturday morning to talk about that book, talk about that experience, and kind of talk from his point of view, somebody who was there, what he feels like, what's happening. In our country in terms of democracy, we have we actually have the authors who wrote a biography, a historian who wrote a biography on Samuel Adams, who, a
mm,
lot of people don't really know what his role in the Revolutionary War was, and so, we get so much about the founding fathers and the founding fathers, but they weren't the only ones. There were, a lot of other people that were involved. And, Samuel Adams now is more associated with a beer than with American history.
yeah,
But, he's definitely going to the historian, her name is Stacy Schiff, is kind of going to illuminate another aspect of American history. We have the two authors who wrote the biography of George Floyd,
mm,
and as part of the biography of George Floyd, they talk about what it meant to all of us, as Americans, to be witnesses, even if just through the television,
yeah,
to his the tragic death and to the aftermath, and to what happened around the country, when people had just had enough,
mhm,
and took to the streets. So that's going to be part of that conversation as well. Carrie, speaking of historians and American history, Carrie Greenidge, who is also a historian, her book is about the legacy of slavery in one
mm,
family. The Grimkeys, who were both, um, you know, who both enslaved people and who also had abolitionists that were an important part of
wow,
their family, were an important part of the so
I'm gonna
that,
read that.
you know, that kind of family dynamic that's part of our American history is, that's just a couple of the things in our, like, our big nonfiction room. And then we have, I've been reading a lot of the books that are coming through. I'm in the middle of one called The White Horse, and the
What's
author's
that
last name
about?
is, well, so it's a Native American woman whose mother passed away when she was a baby in a kind of dramatic way that no one really knows what happened. Was she
Mm,
abandoned? Was she not abandoned? And there's a supernatural element to it. So you not only do you get this kind of ghost story, this kind of gripping, like what's gonna happen next, feeling, but you're also at the same time, and going back to how books allow you to kind of learn so much, at the same time, I'm getting um, this whole understanding of this particular Native American community. So I- kind of along those lines, we have a number of books this year. We every year we kind of focus on different things, but one of our mainstay programs is the Read Caribbean program, and we
Mm,
bring authors from different parts of the Caribbean. A lot of authors from Haiti,
that's dope.
because there's such a big Haitian community in Miami. Unfortunately, there's been so much going on in Haiti, a
Yeah.
lot of violence. A couple of the authors who were supposed to come, one was assassinated,
Mm,
which I just it's unimaginable to me, the kind of strife that's occurring in Haiti right now, and how really tragic and sad, and how it has real world consequences for people. And so that's a little bit of what we try and talk about too, like how is the Caribbean, how is our families that are still in those, how are they living through it?
yeah.
What's important for us, who are lucky enough to not have to go through that every day? How can we help, and how can we learn? How could we understand the situation that is affecting our neighbors? Whether we are personally acquainted with someone who's Haitian or not, we live in a community where our our neighbors are Haitian, and so how are they? What is it that they're going through? And coming to the fair to look at, to be part of those conversations, I think helps us really get to know each other, you know, as part of the big human family, but also get to know each other as part of the our people that are always in Miami interacting, whether they're Hispanic, we have a lot of authors from Latin America, whether they're Haitian, we have a lot of, as I mentioned, or, just from here, from Miami, regardless of the background, people's stories, and that's where I come. That's how I come to book fair. That's what is important to me about book fair. And of course, there's all the entertainment value. I don't want to be like the super nerd. Always learning about whatever. Like there's a lot. It's a lot of fun. What? Oh, I'm looking forward. I'll tell you who I'm looking forward
Cool.
to. Fat Joe and DJ Khaled,
Oh, wow. They're coming?
because yeah, so Fat Joe has written a book. It's called The Book of Jose, and he's gonna be in conversation with DJ Khaled, and that's gonna be our Saturday night closer.
Wow,
And
that's gonna be major.
I'm old enough, that I'm Joe's like actually, he's just a year older than I am, and I was just talking on the phone with a writer who you might know from Book Fair. Her name is Edwidge Danticat.
Mhm.
She is a Haitian American author, amazing books. And she
Yeah.
called me about something else. And I said, "Oh, can I make sure you get tickets to anything, even if you're not presenting?" She's like, "Oh, my kids want to go see DJ Khaled, but I want to go see Fat Joe." I tell everybody, Fat Joe was my DJ Khaled, because her and I are around the same age, and we were laughing about that. And everybody's like, you know, wow, that's like, that's really at book fair? I'm like, yeah, that's what I love about what we do. And that's why I'm proud to be part of it, because we just, we want to make sure that all the voices are heard, we want to make sure that we give a platform for all kinds of different stories, for all kinds of people, to find themselves in what we do. So
No, this is amazing. And honestly, you're giving me more information about what's going on. So I'm really hoping that people come to the book fair and check it out. There's so much going on, so many different things for different people. And honestly, right now, like I love that you spoke to togetherness, because right now, this time in the country and this time in the world, like we need things that are going to bring us together and bring us common ground. Before I let you go, I want to know, how can people connect with you? How can they get more information about the book fair? Give us the dates on when the book fair will be taking place. Let everybody know everything book fair, how we could connect and how we can go out there and show up and support.
definitely. So we actually begin on November 13th in the afternoon. And if I'm involved in book fair and book fairs in Miami, there's always a party, right? So we start out with a party on Sunday afternoon. We're actually partnering with a local, bar, music bar called Dante's Hi-Fi. They're
Oh,
all
I've heard
about
of them.
Yeah, they're all about records and not, digital music. I mean, like I can, digital records, whatever. Music is music. So we start out on Sunday with a party with them, and we do have a couple authors that night. The schedule's on the website, and if anybody has any problems finding anything, I'm more than happy to email people directly. So you can definitely put my email up. But then we go every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday the 14th, 15th, all the way through November 18th. Every night we have a different author. Michael Pollan, who is best known now from his Netflix TV show about psychedelics. He's one of our authors. Charlene Hunter Gold, who is a
Mm,
legendary journalist who's written about the Black community in the United States. She's had a 50-year career. She's also part of the program on Tuesday. For those football fans, we have Jimmy Johnson on
oh, nice.
Thursday. Yeah, we also have Patti Smith, rock musician, on Friday night. All of these are people who have written books, even though they're not writers per se. Except Charlene, she is definitely, and so is Michael Pollan, definitely writers. And so every night we have an author, and we start out with a party. So 6
So
p.m.
Miami, I love it.
I know, I know. You can't have a Miami Book Fair without a Miami Book Fair party. So every night we start with a party at 6 p.m., which is free down here at the Wolfson campus, Miami-Dade College. And then our author program is at 8 p.m. And then Friday during the day, everything is free. Street fair is free. We get a lot of kids that come on field trip. A lot of parents, sometimes if the school's not coming, they'll be like, "Oh, let's skip school that day," and they bring their kids. And then Saturday and Sunday, as I mentioned, the 19th and the 20th is all day long marathon, authors, music, food, children's activities, all that stuff from the 13th through the 20th of November.
Love it. It's a week long worth of literary fun and litness, and I love it. It's all a vibe, and it's all for a great, mission, literacy and reading and learning and having fun and showing the fun in that. And I think we need more of that. Also, too, if you guys are looking at the screen, I put Lissette's contact information up there. Lissette, if you want to, shoot that off for them so they could hear like how to connect with you and any places that they could connect with the book fair to get more information.
Yeah, for sure. So our website is miamibookfair.com. And then if anybody has any specific questions or they want to connect or anything like that, my email is Mendez, so LMENDEZ at MDC, Miami-Dade College.edu. And then, on social media, just look for Miami Book Fair on all the channels. Um, and our main phone number, which is 237-3258. You can call, business hours mostly, and you can get any answers to the questions. We do have fair goers guides, out in different places in the community. But probably the best place to start would be our website, and that has every author schedule, the music schedule, all of that. And there's once you're inside, I mean, we charge like $8 a day for people to come in through the door. Once you're inside on the weekend, everything is free. I mean, you have to pay for your food and your drinks. We have a great bar, over by the stage so people can loosen up a little bit and start dancing. But once you come in, it's like you could just spend a day hanging out, great weather, you know,
Yeah,
just
have some
everything else is
fun, get
free.
some books, and get some drinks. Like there are a lot of free events, and also too is very cost effective too. Like the cost, the things that you do have to pay for is not a lot. And so I definitely have to give a shout out before we go to my auntie Lori Tate Williams, who took me to my first book fair when she was still a student at Miami-Dade College. That was my introduction to it when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Fell in love with it. Always love the book fair. Every year that I can, make it out there, I do. And so definitely want to give her a shout out and thank her for welcoming me to the world of books through the Miami Book Fair. And so thank you, Lissette, for coming on the show, breaking down all the great things
Thank
that's going on this
you.
year. People, let's make sure we go out there. Let's support. Of course, I know we all go out there, but here you got the information. Connect with Lissette if you got the information. If you got any questions. And of course, thank you for tuning into another episode of Can We Talk, powered by Hilo News. Make sure you guys are following us on all social media platforms. Sign up for our email newsletter. Head over to HiloNewsMiami.com to get all that information for our social media, our email newsletter, and to see all the latest news that we have for Black and Brown millennials in South Florida. Again, make sure we head out to the Miami Book Fair. I'll see you guys out there. Thank you again, Lissette. Thank you for all the work that you're doing over there with literacy and books and Miami Book Fair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janae. It's so great to meet you. And say hi to your aunt and thank her for me.
I definitely will. Hey, Auntie, I know she's watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next time.